Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode. This episode of the Rose Flame podcast is going to be about how women prostitute the divine masculine. And I've been learning so much. It's really brought me into a place of deeper union. Now, obviously, this knowledge, if it is not applied, it's not going to do us any good. But if we actually chew on this knowledge, we lean into the spirit within us, we sit with maybe the emotions, the thoughts that arise, hearing these things, great transformation can happen within us. And once great transformation happens within us, then there's no choice for great transformation to happen around us. And that is really exciting. You'd be surprised how just by coming into wholeness, which is what you already are, and healing old wounds and overcoming old patterns, doing the work, so to speak, right? Of acknowledging these things. What power there is for humanity. And I feel like in Christianity and churchianity, we're taught like, oh, you've got to go and do this, and you need to go do this, and you need to do this. And what happens is we get neglected, we become burnt out, we put our family to the side, we sacrifice things that maybe we shouldn't be sacrificing. And we do it in the name of God. And thus far, it has not changed the world for the better. So I feel like the awakening that is happening now is fully integrating every aspect of being human. One of the greatest things we can do is just to be whole, not in striving, not in lacking, to understand that God is with us. And when I look at you, I see God. God is there in every human being. Divine feminine, divine masculine, in union. And when that union is whole, and when that union is healed, you become a sign and a wonder to the world. And your vibration, oh yes, it changes everything and everyone that you come in contact with. That's why I'm so passionate about digging to the wholeness that we always were. And we haven't always been told how whole we are. In fact, our wounds might have spoken the opposite. I want to mention too that you can look in the bio there on YouTube, and you can find my email address. So you can always reach out to me, and I would love to chat as led. So yeah, we're going to dive in to how women prostitute the divine masculine. When women prostitute the divine masculine, they use masculine energy, which is direction, structure, protection, action, logic, and authority, in ways that are extractive, fear-based, or compensatory, rather than embodied and integrated. This usually happens when the feminine has been wounded, and the masculine is taken on to survive, not to serve truth. This is not blame. It's about how trauma distorts energy. So one wound is overfunctioning and hyper independence. What it looks like is, I don't need anyone. Doing everything alone, even when you're exhausted. Rejecting help while resenting the lack of support. Masculine action is used to armor against vulnerability. And independence becomes a defense, not empowerment. The core wound is that the father was absent, unreliable, or unsafe. The thought is, if I don't do it, it won't get done. And maybe the mother was overburdened or a martyr, so the child learns that love equals self-sacrifice. The thought is, women don't get saved. Now you notice here how this topic is women prostituting the divine masculine within themselves, mostly. So the pattern in generations, okay, are the mother and the grandmother had to survive without reliable men. Men were absent, and women praised for strength, but not supported in vulnerability. So maybe the men were absent from war, addiction, incarceration. So what happens is the daughter internalizes that needing someone or something is weak. And if I rest, everything will fall apart. Action replaces receptivity, and self-reliance becomes identity. The message is, be strong, because no one is coming. Another way that women prostitute the divine masculine is controlling men or life instead of trusting. And what it looks like is micromanaging partners, needing certainty, timelines, outcomes, and having anxiety when not in charge. And I feel like every woman has dealt with this on some level. How this prostitutes the masculine is direction and leadership are used to manage fear. And control replaces trust and receptivity. The father wound is inconsistent or chaotic father. So the daughter feels that safety depends on control. The mother wound is anxious or emotionally unstable mother. The child becomes the regulator of emotions. So the pattern in generational thought is the mother lived in chronic anxiety. The household was in chaos. There was unpredictability or abuse. And then the daughter becomes the emotional regulator. The daughter internalizes that control equals safety and trust equals danger. Leadership is used to prevent collapse, and nervous system is not regulated, but it is stuck in vigilance. So in other words, the fight or flight. And the message given to the daughter is, if you don't stay on top of everything, it will all fall apart. Number 3, providing to be chosen or safe. And what does this look like? Overgiving money, labor, emotional support, being the strong one to earn love, attracting dependent or passive partners. Provision is used as currency for attachment, and the masculine becomes transactional. The father wound is love was conditional or performance based. And the mother wound is love came through caretaking or usefulness. The mother valued for her service, sacrifice, or endurance. And love becomes conditional on usefulness. And the daughter is seeing this, and she internalizes that her worth is in what she gives. And when she rests, she finds she's guilty. Provision becomes attachment, attracts partners who take and not give. And the message that the daughter has internalized is love is something you earn through exhaustion. And that, my dear friends, feels like most women at some point in time in their life. Number 4, I think. Using logic to suppress feeling. And what does it look like? Intellectualizing emotions. Being reasonable instead of being honest. And discomfort with softness, grief, or need. The masculine logic is used to override the feminine intuition. And thinking replaces feeling. The father wound is that emotional expression was dismissed or punished. And the mother wound was that there was emotional chaos. Feelings felt unsafe or overwhelming. So feelings are dangerous. The mother was punished or shamed for emotional expression. The feminine emotion labeled hysterical, dramatic, or weak. And the daughter internalizes feelings must be controlled. And intuition cannot be trusted. And I want to pause there because I feel like this is a big one. Intuition, our intuition not being trusted within our own body. So we then outsource our safety because we can't feel safe in our own intuition. We don't trust our own intuition. We therefore do not know how to regulate our own nervous system. And we outsource our safety to our external environment. And then pretty much everything becomes unsafe because we've been triggered for so long that even the slightest change, even in someone's voice or in the environment, causes us to retreat into fight or flight, survival mode. Yeah. The message that the daughter internalizes is your emotions will cost you safety or love. Here's a good one. Becoming the man in relationships. Leading, initiating, planning everything. The partner becomes passive, avoidant, or childlike. Sexual polarity collapses. Leadership is taken on to prevent abandonment. And masculine role replaces relational balance. The core wound is that the father was unavailable and a woman steps into leadership early. Or the mother leaned on child emotionally. Parentification. So the daughter internalized, I must lead to be loved, and I cannot be the child. Leadership is used to avoid abandonment, and the feminine receptivity collapses. So you become an unsafe container for yourself and you collapse instead of being able to contain the masculine and the feminine without leaking. The internal message is that there is no one to lean on. I must be the pillar. Here's a good one. Using boundaries as walls. What does it look like? Rigid independence disguised as self-respect. Cutting off instead of communicating. Hyper defensiveness. Boundaries become weapons instead of protection. And masculine structure is used to avoid intimacy. The father wound is boundaries were unsafe or violated. And the mother wound is emotional enmeshment. Separation felt dangerous. The daughter internalizes that closeness feels engulfing or overwhelming. And distance feels safer than connection. Structure is used to block intimacy. Therefore, boundaries become walls. And the message that the daughter internalizes is to be close, is to lose yourself. Competing with men instead of relating. So proving strength, proving intelligence, proving dominance, discomfort in receiving from men, devaluing masculine contribution. Power is used to stay above vulnerability, and equality becomes rivalry. And isn't that a big one? And I feel like as men and women, we've become each other's rival instead of each other's backbone or teammate. And this healing that humanity is doing currently is going to bring back a wholeness. Yeah, I'm seeing the garden. Yeah, it's a wholeness that we were created in. It's a wholeness that we've always had. But the distortions and the programming have kept us from seeing, believing, and knowing who we are. And then you add to that all the trauma and the things that we are accustomed to and have experienced as children and as adults. And you find yourself farther and farther away from the truth, which is we're whole and we need each other. Not in a grasping kind of way, and not in a desperate kind of way, but in a safe way, in partnership, as a team, as a family. And I feel like real family, maybe we've never really seen what that actually looks like as a unit that is equal. As the divine feminine rises into her rightful place, we will see this equality come forth. And it's important for every aspect of our lives. Yeah. It's important for every aspect of our lives. I have visitors. I can sense the angels are here. Yes. Mother Mary. The Marys. You know, this is sacred work. Everything that we do to come into a greater place of loving ourselves, it's sacred. It's sacred. Don't discount it. Don't discount the pain. Don't discount the tears. Don't discount the sitting still when you just want to run, when you just want to disassociate, when you just don't want to feel your pain. Don't discount letting go of people and places and things when you know it's the right way. Don't discount the process. Pat yourself on the back. So the core wound, when it comes to competing with men instead of relating, the father diminished, was abusive, or unreliable. And the mother modeled feminine as powerless or resentful. The daughter internalized that softness is unsafe and power means dominance. And the core message is that men cannot be trusted. Be stronger than them. This persists across generations because trauma that isn't felt gets performed. The daughter doesn't consciously choose this. Her nervous system inherits it. The body remembers exhaustion, vigilance, grief that never had space. So the ego or the psyche says, I will not need what was never given. Healing doesn't look like softening first. Healing looks like safety first. Grieving what the mother never received. Separating strength from survival. Allowing the feminine to exist without punishment. And letting the inner masculine serve, not guard. The feminine heals when she no longer has to replace protection. Because protection becomes internal, regulated, and trustworthy. I honor the strength that kept us alive, and I choose a future where strength no longer replaces love. Say that to yourself. Put your hand on your heart. Maybe close your eyes even. Rock back and forth if you need to. Put your feet firmly on the ground. I honor the strength that kept us alive, and I choose a future where strength no longer replaces love. The feminine does not heal by trying harder. She heals when safety replaces vigilance. Most wounded feminine systems are stuck in sympathetic overdrive, which is hyperindependence and control, or dorsal collapse, which is numbness, shutdown, and disassociation. Repair means restoring regulated receptivity. So you restore safety in the body. What you're signaling to your nervous system is, I am not under threat. The somatic focus is from the bottom up. Slow, repetitive, predictable sensations. So, slowly naming 5 things you see. Grounding through weight, sitting or lying with heavy blankets, feet flat. Inhale and exhale. One hand on chest, one hand on lower belly. I do this all the time. It really does work. This repairs hypervigilance, control reflex, and chronic tension in your jaw, shoulders, and hips. And what you are saying is, I am allowed to arrive in my body. You reclaim the body as a safe place to feel. So you want to be able to feel sensation without overwhelm. So maybe you're going to heal in doses that the body can tolerate. Instead of reliving an entire trauma, you just touch the edge of it. You notice your body's response. Instead of pushing through discomfort, you return to safety or regulation. And slowly repeating this as time goes on, being able to relive more and more of whatever it is you're desiring to heal. Because one thing I will say is, there is an inner child within us all that has experienced a certain set of things from 0 to 7 that shaped your brain patterns, and then onward and upward from 7 to now. And that child, she longs to be free. She longs to be safe. She longs to be heard. She longs to be known. And she often has been buried very deep underneath trauma, wounds, and safety mechanisms, protection, walls, right? Instead of boundaries. I truly believe that we must integrate our inner child, go back and heal them. Because we do time travel, but that I'll leave for another podcast. So when you sit with your body, this allows your nervous system to complete responses without flooding, shutting down, or re-traumatization. So when you're not overexposing yourself to trauma, you give your body space to heal. Trauma is stored in the nervous system, not just the mind. So too much, too fast triggers fight or flight, the freeze mode, I'd call it freeze mode, right? Disassociation and attachment collapse. So a little at a time, or titration, restores safety by teaching the body, I can feel this and remain intact. So you can do a few things. Gently shift attention between neutral and pleasant sensations, rocking and swaying, warm baths. So doing this repairs emotional suppression, fear of softness, and disassociation from pleasure. So what you're really telling your body and your mind is that feeling does not equal danger. So stage 3, step 3, releasing stored survival roles. Let the body complete what was interrupted. Your focus is expression without explanation and discharge, not analysis. Now, here's some interesting things you can do. Sighing, humming, low tones, pushing against a wall, slow stomping, curling, rocking, allowing tears without a narrative. And this repairs overfunctioning, people-pleasing, and emotional armor. What you're saying to yourself is, I no longer need to hold this together. And how many of us feel like we need to hold everything together? When in reality, everything's already together. Our body just needs to know that. Our nervous system needs to be regulated. And we need to feel safe. And if we don't, we're in fight or flight in one way or the other, right? And we miss out on this moment right now. We miss out on the things that the universe, God, the divine source of life wants to bring us. If our nervous system cannot receive those things, they will not land in our lives. This is why we can be saying all the right things and, reading all the self-help books. But deep down in our core, we don't feel worthy, or we don't feel safe, or we don't feel like we're enough, or whatever it may be. And we never receive all the different things and people and places that were destined for us, that were supposed to be a part of our lives. So, step 4, repattern your receiving. So this is to teach your body it is safe to receive support. The focus is on passive reception and stillness without guilt. So, being held by cushions, chairbacks, or trusted presence. Letting your gaze blur slightly. Massage your hand, holding yourself, and self-soothing. Let someone do something for you without reciprocating. This is another way, which I love. This repairs hyperindependence, masculine overuse, and fear of dependence. And what you are training your body and mind to believe and know is, I do not have to earn care. So the next stage is restoring feminine rhythm and flow, reconnecting to cyclical, intuitive movement. So important, right? Rhythm over productivity, flow over force. So you could do yoga, cycle tracking, drawing, playing, dancing. This repairs burnout, disconnection from intuition, linear and rigid energy. And what you're teaching yourself is, my body has its own timing. And the final stage, integrating the inner masculine as support and not control. Masculine energy becomes a container, not a commander. And the focus is on structure that feels safe, not rigid. So gentle routines, like the same walk time, the same coffee time. Simple boundaries spoken calmly. Planning rest into structure. Choosing one clear priority per day. And I really love that, because I think sometimes this world overwhelms us with a to-do list that really isn't that important. Seriously, I'm going to say this. Is it that serious if there's some dishes in the sink? Is everything going to fall apart if your floor isn't swept? Are you really going to lose your mind if your laundry is not taken care of? Because what I've come to learn as someone who used to be very compulsive about all these things is that there's more important things like my mental state and my spiritual capacity, my heart capacity, my family time. I remember, times when I would just, be angry with my children or be upset with my children because they didn't clean the way I wanted them to or fast enough or whatever. And it's just like, in 5 years, is this going to matter? It's a good question to ask. And I feel like women, we really need to take a deep breath. Because, like, seriously, in 5 years, is this really going to matter? So, what this repairs is chaos and the collapse after overdoing and the fear of surrender. The thought is that structure exists to protect my softness. So, how you know healing is happening, your breath drops lower naturally. Your shoulders soften without effort. Receiving feels less threatening. Rest no longer produces guilt. Attraction shifts toward grounded presence. The urge to control decreases organically. This is nervous system truth, not willpower. So this is not something you can work harder for. It's kind of the exact opposite. It requires you to surrender in a deeper and deeper way. And if you're serious about becoming who you always were and being whole, which is honestly what you are, you're going to have to let go. Let go of your past. Let go of your wounds. Let go of your pain. Let go of your control. Let go of your fear. And this isn't just women I'm talking about. This is everyone. We all carry burdens and baggage from previous experiences. But we don't have to. And that is the process of becoming whole. The truth is, if we would have been told that we were more than enough and loved correctly from birth without all these expectations and programming placed on us, we wouldn't need to heal. We would know we were whole. Gosh, can you imagine a world like that? It's what I long for. When one woman repairs her nervous system, she interrupts generational hypervigilance. She stops modeling martyrdom, and she teaches daughters safety through embodiment, not sacrifice. This is ancestral repair through the body. What integrated masculine in a woman looks like is action without urgency, boundaries without rigidity, leadership without control, independence without isolation, strength that supports softness, not replaces it. The healed feminine allows the masculine to serve her internally and externally, instead of forcing it to protect her. And this runs straight through the mother-daughter line. When women prostitute the divine masculine, they are often carrying unfinished survival strategies passed down through generations of women who had to override their feminine to survive. So give yourself grace. Maybe you're taking notes. Maybe you're paying attention. Maybe you feel a stirring and you don't know where to begin. There's no one way that works for everyone, but I suggest looking into somatic, sensory, somatic healing, breathing techniques, meditation. Ultimately, I do believe that it is only in stillness and looking within that we can fully integrate the wounded aspect, the shadow self, to become whole, which is what we already are. But with the wounds and the generational patterns passed down for who knows how many generations, 5, 10, 15, 20, we don't know we're whole. We're fragmented. And that is the best way to put it. We have been fragmented. Some of us shattered into pieces. So you must love those pieces. You cannot shame those pieces back to wholeness. It will not work. In fact, it will cause more fragments. So I will end here. And I'm not sure what the next podcast will be. There's a couple things, couple ways this could go. So I will just have to see as the Spirit leads. And I'll be back when I'm back. Yeah. I love you guys. Have a good night.